Teachers of homiletics offer many different kinds of useful advice to preachers. No matter how varied, no matter how useful that advice might be, however, it all needs to be grounded on a firm foundation. And that firm foundation is a clear understanding of just what it is that the church wants from its preachers. Because when preachers walk into an ambo or to a pulpit, they are not walking in their own name. They're not preaching their own agendas. They've been sent. They are preaching in the name of the church. They are preaching the church's agenda. Now, preaching in different periods of time, in different ages, have been different from each other. And that's because the needs of the time are different. And it's important that homiletic practice, that preaching, responds to the needs of the time. However, it could often be very difficult for preachers to discern just exactly what it was that the church wanted them to do, or perhaps more important, what the church did not want them to do, because there was no sure and definite compass. Some preachers would put together the fruit of their experience in treatises, but there was nothing definitive from the church itself. Well, we are very blessed in our time, in our age, to have such a compass, to have such a definitive guide. And that definitive guide, that compass, is a document called the Homiletic Directory. The Homiletic Directory is the fruit of the work that came out of the Second Vatican Council on a revisioning of the homily, and pulls together the work that was done then, the preparatory work for that, and the work and the advice of the popes since that time. At the Second Vatican Council, what happened was that the council advocated a kind of patristic preaching as a model, something that could inform, not something that we should slavishly imitate, but something that could inform the preaching that we do. In particular, they looked at Origen, and Origen's preaching was fully conversational, fully liturgical, fully scriptural, and fully prophetic. Now, what does any of that mean? Well, further videos in this channel will explore these things in practical ways with some practical suggestions. So if you're interested in that and would like to follow up on that, please just push the subscription button at the end so that you can follow up on later videos. The Homiletic Directory, though, does tell us that preaching is not to be an entertainment. Preaching the homily is not to be primarily a lecture. That preaching the homily is not to be primarily catechetical. It doesn't rule catechesis out, but it is not to be primarily that. Neither is it to be primarily an exegesis of Scripture, and nor should it be primarily a personal witness. Instead, it speaks about a preaching which is fully integrated with the liturgy. It speaks about a preaching which speaks from the constellation of readings. It uses the term constellation of readings of that particular liturgy. It speaks about a kind of preaching which is specifically tailored to the listeners who are in front of that preaching. This is what this channel is all about. There are other wonderful materials to read to get this groundwork of what the church is asking for. But starting with the Homiletic Directory, and then maybe Evangelii Gaudium by Pope Francis, and then maybe Verbum Domini, which was the apostolic exhortation after the Synod on the Word by Pope Benedict XVI, all of which are available online. That's a really good place to start. And with that groundwork in place, we can then look into, now we know what the church wants. How do we do it?